slightly controversial question to ask everyone this evening. Are any of you in an arranged marriage? I think there's one. No. You don't need it. Are any of you in an arranged marriage? You are? Okay. Well, I know I don't look like a typical candidate, but I admit I am in one. Good evening, club president, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests.
Hey.
As you can probably hear from my accent, I was born and bred in the UK until the age of about 14 years old, when my parents told us that we were relocating to Zimbabwe in Africa. My real lust for traveling had begun. We were at school during the week, of course, I was still a teenager, but our weekends were filled with going off to the bush, trekking, going on safari around Lake Kariba, or going over to the border in Mozambique. This is in contrast to my old mates in the UK, who were probably sat in the rain, watching TV and going to the malls. Have any of you been to Africa before? Is that? Oh, a few? How about Southern Africa? Southern Africa? No? Okay. Well, look, I highly, highly recommend it goes on your bucket list. Most amazing place. My favorite part of the world. So, my sister and I were at the same international school in Harare, which is the capital of Zimbabwe. And she became best friends with a Zimbabwean girl called Kerry Stead. Bless you. Kerry used to often come to our house to hang out with my sister, and there was certainly this kind of magical spark between Kerry and I. However, you know, she was my sister's best friend, and we just felt that it would be inappropriate. It was the forbidden, if you know what I mean, for us to get together. We were teenagers, we were kind of, you know, old enough, but it was certainly forbidden, and we just weren't willing to take that risk. So life very much moved on, and at 18, I moved back to the UK to university. Bless you again. I back to university, and I had a few pretty serious romances over the years, but my mind would often cast back to amazing Africa and all of the incredible people that we'd met. So my lust for travel was very much ingrained. Once I graduated, I moved to London and then worked all over the world. I worked in Germany, Czech Republic, Qatar, and I ended up in 2012 moving to this part of the world. I ended up moving to Jakarta in Indonesia with my job. In September 2021, very much out of the blue, I remember it vividly. I got a call from my mother, who said, "I found you the right one." To which my reply was, "Have you already had a drink, Mother?" To which her reply was, do you remember Kerry Stead from school in Zimbabwe? I said, "Yes, of course I do." Well, she said, "Look, you spent long enough messing around, having too much fun. You're getting too old, my boy. It's time you settled down, and Kerry is the right one for you. Trust me." My mother, unbeknownst to me, had spent the last 2 or 3 days courting Kerry on my behalf, as any good mother would do. She'd sold me, basically, and had persuaded Kerry to hop on a FaceTime call with me to talk, to rekindle, to reconnect. So a few days later, I got on the call, and with a fair amount of persuasion over the following weeks and months, I managed to get Kerry to agree to an extended Indonesian vacation. During her time with me, I showed her around the archipelago. And with time, we fell in love. And I persuaded her, as a good broker, to move to Indonesia, to give up her job in Spain at the time where she was working, and to relocate to Indonesia to come and be with me. We lived in Jakarta initially until 2023, until that wanderlust was reignited, and we were offered the opportunity to move to Singapore. So, happily married now for 2 years, we have created the most beautiful little girl called Sienna. And I may be biased, well in fact I am biased, but I think she is the most amazing little girl in the world. She truly melts my heart.
Oh.
So, Toastmasters, as a happily married man, I can proudly share that our arranged marriage is one of the most precious happenings in our life ever, well in my life anyway, ever. And you too can relish in the happiness out there to be found. Good evening.
Oh.